Welcome to the channel. It's Jack, the muscle and mobility maker with Stronghold Strength and Conditioning. And today, I'm going to be showing you how to take care of those tight calves that are giving you trouble. But before we get into it, make sure you take a moment and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content like this. Every Saturday, I'm putting out videos showing you how to resolve aches and pains, prevent injuries, and overall optimize your performance inside the gym and outside of it in your daily life and routine. And it doesn't get better than that, so take advantage of it. Ready? Let's go ahead and dive into this one. Alright, like I said, today I'm going to be showing you how to take care of those tight calves. Now, if chronically tight calves are something that you are experiencing on a regular basis, they're always giving you trouble, then there are a few things that we want to touch base on here first before we get into the actual tools that I'm going to give you to follow here. The concept of paying attention to what's happening above and below can be very important to understand here. First of all, we have a lot of musculature of the toes that's actually housed up in that posterior part of our leg there, below those bigger muscles like the gastrocnemius and the soleus, which are contributing to that tightness. That can be a problem. So if you lack foot stability and mobility at your foot, there's weakness at the foot, you're not intrinsically strong at the foot, this can actually cause a tightness up above in the calf there. So that's something to be very aware of. If your foot lacks mobility, that could be part of the problem in the overall sense of not being able to resolve it, whether you stretch your calves or not. So a couple things to check could be how well you can space your toes, how well you can actually extend your toes individually, so big toe then small toes, and kind of playing with the ability to control your toes in general and the foot as a whole, being able to make it stable is important. So check that, make sure that all checks out first, and then we can also look at what's happening with your pelvis, because a lot of times if we're in anterior pelvic tilt, this is going to cause our knees to get locked out, which is now putting that whole posterior chain into a tension. So chronically tight calves could come from what's happening at your pelvis or what's happening at your foot, and in reality it could be a combination of the two, because your foot and hip work together in a cyclical relationship, and there's a good chance that there's a little bit of both going on. So check both of those areas. If you have chronically tight calves, make sure that you are able to get yourself into a good neutral pelvis, and that will start to change the length of those tissues in that posterior chain, as well as the stability of your foot from down below, and that will be a more long-term solution for your calf tightness overall. Today I'm going to give you some other tools though, specifically looking at the calf musculature, the soleus as well, and even getting into those toes a little bit here. But we're going to look at joint distraction of the ankle, we're going to look at some soft tissue work around the calf as well, and then we're going to show you some different strengthening techniques like contract, relax, and reciprocal inhibition that you can use to help affect those calf tissues as well directly. Ready? Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, the first thing we're going to start with is a banded distraction of the ankle joint itself. Now this can be very beneficial because one, it can first of all set the joint in a good position and ensure that we're getting the range of motion from that joint that we should be able to. And two, it's a nice way to actually go active in your range of motion here. So what you'll see is I drive up into the toes here, up into the ball of the foot, and this is going to activate mostly my soleus, but still my gastroc to some degree, and then it's also getting into those toe flexors, so we're going to open those up as well by using this position. I'm going to flex for about 5 seconds, and then I'm going to relax. So we call this kind of a contract relax method, and the band naturally helps provide some resistance, so it's easier for you to feel that pull initially against the band, and then allow yourself to fully relax into that pull of the band. So you might get it in your Achilles, you might feel it up into the calf a little bit more. There's different sensations you'll feel based off of where your tightness is currently and the restriction is. Once you address that ankle dorsiflexion with the band, next we're going to go ahead and hit the higher tissues with some self-myofascial release. Here I've got a softball up under the knee, so I've really put it in there nice and tight, and I'm just starting by driving over knees over toes as much as possible. And again, I'm going to implement that same concept of driving up into the toes and then relaxing and taking it a little bit deeper into dorsiflexion each time. Now, once again, since we're in that bent knee position, we are working more of the soleus here, and again, those toe flexors are getting involved in this position, but this will help address those tissues that cross over the back of the knee if those are a bit restricted and need to improve the way that they're gliding over one another. This next self-myofascial release technique is using the foam roller, and here I'm starting at the Achilles because that can be a steel cord. It can be real tough, and that can cause some of the issues as well. And I'm gradually going to work my way up the calf. Now, most of the pressure at first is going to be from me sitting on that foam roller and making a sandwich with the floor and my foot and ankle there, and the pressure of the foam roller on the back of the calf and the Achilles. But as I get higher up in the calf, I'm going to use more of my arm pressure, my hand pressure, so I kind of control that. You'll see I was still kind of sitting on it, but that foam roller will want to push out, so you are using mostly your hands, and you're wiggling back and forth across those tissues to restore, again, the gliding surfaces of those tissues. So we want to relax as much as possible to that pressure and not fight it. Let the foam roller go in. Lastly, I'm doing a little bit of a strength series here with something called mobility floss. Now this is going to use self-myofascial release and blood flow restriction at the same time. The first thing I'm doing here is tib raises off the wall. Now you could also do these off a step to make it a little bit more range of motion, or take it deeper in the wall there, a little bit further down, so that you're working through further range of motion. But the idea here is that we're going to activate the antagonistic tissues here in order to basically get the calf to relax. So it's called reciprocal inhibition. Then I'm going onto a slant board and I'm going to raise up into the ball of the feet as much as possible and then let my heels drop. If I needed steeper angle, I could just lean in a little bit further on that and repeat the process. So I'm using contract, relax as well here to get into those tissues a little bit deeper. Flex the tissues, relax the tissues, allow that slant board to take you deeper into the position here. And of course, this is my makeshift slant board. You can always find one that has a little bit steeper angles as well, or I could change the angle of that block if I wanted to get a little bit deeper. But find that range that challenges those tissues where you're still able to get those heels down flat, depending on where you're at there overall. Now from here, once I do a few, this is directly getting the calves a little bit more, the gastrocnemius I should say specifically. And I'm going to sink down into that squat, again working more of the soleus, and we are getting those flexors of the toes also here. So once I'm in this deep squat, I'm holding the pole a little bit. You will feel that anterior part of your shin really start to activate, especially after doing the tib raises there. And that should help take the focus off of the stretch at the calf and build some strength, pulling you into that deeper dorsiflexion from the front of your shin more. So again, about 5 seconds raised up, relax into it, sink in, settle in, hold yourself there with the post, and keep yourself in that deep position, butt close to the heels, ankles dropping down, keeping the feet flat. All right, and there you have it, how to take care of those tight calves. If you like this video, make sure you let me know by clicking that big thumbs up down below, and take a moment to share this one with a friend if they're always stretching their calves, trying to put it up against the wall, you know, that classic one. Then pass this along their way, share the love. Now, if you're somebody who struggles with mobility limitations and you're tired of it affecting the way that you're training, the way that you're living your day, you feel stiff, you feel achy from the tightness that you experience, or maybe you have a history of training injuries that are holding you back from your training, and you want to put those in the past and restore your mobility, what I want you to do right now is drop down below in the description and fill out a coaching application and schedule a mobility blueprint call. This is our opportunity to get on a Zoom call together so that I can take you through an assessment, gather the information that I need to tailor a program specific to your needs, and then lay out for you what your program will look like in full detail. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead, drop down in that description, take a moment, schedule that call, and we'll start moving you in the right direction there. Last but not least, if you have not already, make sure you take a moment and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future content like this. Every Saturday I'm putting out videos showing you how to resolve aches and pains, prevent injuries, and overall optimize your performance inside the gym and outside of it in your daily life and routine, and it does not get better than that. Welcome to the Stronghold Army. We'll see you next week.